He thought his father would leave him money. He thought there would be land, or maybe a house. But when the old man stretched out his trembling hand, all he gave was a torn Bible. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. After all the years of sacrifice, this was all? The hospital room smelled of medicine and sorrow. Machines beeped softly, each sound pulling his heart apart. Michael, his father, looked weak, his lips pale, his breath uneven. His shaking hand pushed the Bible into Ethan's palms. "Take it," Michael whispered. His voice was faint, almost fading into the cold air. "Promise me, you will never let it go." Ethan swallowed hard. His chest burned. He wanted to ask why, but the words never left his lips. He only nodded, holding the Bible tightly, though it felt strange in his hands. Michael smiled weakly, then closed his eyes. The machine gave a long, flat sound that tore through the silence. Nurses rushed in, but Ethan already knew. His father was gone. Tears blurred his sight. He pressed the Bible against his chest, rocking slowly in the chair. His heart screamed for answers. Why only this? After all the years I gave, why only this? The rain was heavy on the way home. Ethan walked alone, no umbrella. The Bible clutched tightly to him, as if it could stop him from drowning in grief. Each drop stung his skin, but he didn't care. His father's face, his final words, replayed in his mind like a broken record. At the apartment, the silence was louder than any sound. He sat at the small table, staring at the torn Bible under the dim lamp. Its leather was cracked, its pages bent. It looked so old, so ordinary. He brushed his fingers along the edges. Something inside him twisted. He wanted to throw it against the wall, but he couldn't. His father's voice still rang in his ears. "Promise me never let it go." "Why?" He leaned closer, turning a few pages slowly. The thin sheets whispered as they moved. Nothing stood out, just words he had read before in church as a child. His throat tightened. "Why, Dad? Why only this?" The Bible sat quietly on the table, almost watching him. Ethan buried his face in his hands, shaking with anger and grief. He thought of the unpaid bills, the empty fridge, the weight of his future. What good was this Bible to him now? What could it give him? He almost pushed it aside when his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Don't open it." Ethan froze. His hands went cold. He turned slowly toward the Bible on the table. Buzz. Another message lit the screen. "Leave it alone. It's not yours." His chest tightened. His heart hammered in his ears. How could anyone know about the Bible? Who would send this? He picked it up quickly, clutching it to his chest as if someone could snatch it away. His hands trembled. The room suddenly felt different, darker, dangerous, as though unseen eyes were watching him. "Buzz." The third message came. "If you touch it again, you will regret it." Ethan's breath caught. His father's last gift. His only inheritance. His only link to the man he loved. And now, strangers warning him not to open it? Tears ran down his cheeks as he whispered, "Dad, what did you leave me?" The Bible lay heavy in his arms. The lamp flickered once. The phone screen glowed in the dark. And Ethan realized he was no longer safe. Ethan could not sleep. The torn Bible lay on the table, staring at him like it had a life of its own. His phone still glowed with the strange messages. "Don't open it. It's not yours. If you touch it again, you will regret it." His hands trembled. Who would say such things? How did they even know? His father had given it to him with his dying breath. It was his. Only his. The clock ticked past midnight. Outside, rain tapped against the window, slow and steady. Ethan sat on the chair, staring at the Bible. His chest was heavy with grief, but his mind burned with questions. Why a Bible? Why nothing else? He remembered his father's hand, cold but firm, pushing it into his palms. "Promise me you will never let it go." The words rang in his ears. Ethan stood up and paced the room. His stomach twisted with hunger, but he ignored it. He couldn't think of food. He couldn't think of sleep. All he could think about was the Bible and the people who wanted him to stay away from it. He stopped at the window and pulled the curtain back just a little. His heart dropped. A car was parked across the street. Its headlights were off, but Ethan could see the shape of a person sitting inside. Not moving, just waiting. His breath caught in his throat. Were they watching him? Quickly, he stepped back from the window and pressed his back against the wall. His hands tightened around the Bible. The phone buzzed again. "We can see you, Ethan." His chest froze. His eyes widened. They were watching. He almost dropped the Bible in fear. His pulse raced so fast he felt dizzy. He rushed to switch off the lamp, leaving the room in darkness. He leaned against the table, his breath shaky. For a long moment, silence filled the air. Only the sound of rain. He whispered, "Dad, what did you give me?" Ethan sank into the chair again, the Bible clutched tightly to his chest. His tears dripped onto its torn cover. He wanted to open it, to tear through the pages and find answers. But fear tied his hands. Hours crawled by. At last, the rain stopped. The sky outside grew pale. Morning. But the car across the street was still there. Ethan couldn't stay inside forever. He grabbed his jacket, slid the Bible into a bag, and carefully opened the door. The hallway was empty. His shoes echoed softly on the stairs as he crept down. At the front door, he paused. He listened. Nothing. He pushed it open. The cold morning air hit him. He looked around quickly. The street was quiet. No people. No movement. The car was gone. He breathed out, relieved. Maybe he had imagined it. Maybe grief was making him see things. He walked fast, the Bible heavy in the bag at his side. He didn't know where he was going, only that he couldn't stay home. Not while strange messages hunted him. He stopped at a small cafe on the corner. It was nearly empty. He bought a coffee with the last coins in his pocket and sat in the far corner. He set the bag on the table and unzipped it, pulling the Bible close. He traced its torn edges with his finger. His father's face came back to him, weak, tired, yet smiling. He whispered to himself, "What are you hiding from me, Dad?" Then something caught his eye. A slip of paper, barely sticking out between two thin pages near the back. His heart skipped. He pulled at it gently. It was an envelope, old and yellow. His name was written on it in his father's handwriting. Ethan. Tears filled his eyes. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside was a single folded note. But before he could read it, "Don't." The voice came from across the cafe. Ethan froze. He slowly looked up. A man in a dark coat was standing by the door. His face was half hidden by the shadow of his hat. He had no coffee, no food. He wasn't there to eat. He was there for him. The man's eyes locked on the Bible. Ethan's heart pounded. He slid the envelope back inside the pages quickly, holding the Bible close to his chest. The man took one slow step forward. The cafe was silent. Even the waitress by the counter seemed frozen. "You should have left it where it was," the man said, his voice low, cold, and certain. "Now you've put yourself in danger." Ethan's throat was dry. "Why? What do you want from me?" The man smiled faintly, but it wasn't warm. "It's not about what I want. It's about what's inside that Bible. And trust me," he paused, his eyes narrowing. "You don't want to know." Ethan's hands gripped the Bible tighter. His chest heaved with fear and anger. His father gave it to him with love. He couldn't let this stranger take it away. The man moved closer, slow and steady like a predator. "Give it to me, Ethan," he said calmly. "Walk away while you still can, or you won't leave this cafe alive." Ethan's stomach turned. His mind screamed. He wanted to run, but his body was frozen. His father's last gift, his only inheritance, sat heavy in his arms. The man reached into his coat pocket. Something metal gleamed. The waitress gasped. A chair scraped against the floor. Ethan's blood turned to ice. He clutched the Bible tight, his eyes wide, his whole body shaking. The man's voice was the last thing he heard before the cafe filled with screams. "You have no idea what that Bible can do." Ethan ran out of the cafe, his heart hammering like it would explode. He didn't even look back. The Bible was clutched so tight in his hands that his knuckles turned white. The streets were blurred by tears, the noise of cars drowned by the pounding inside his chest. He turned corner after corner until he finally stopped, bending over, breathless. His legs trembled. His whole body shook. The world felt unreal. He leaned against a wall, hugging the Bible like a lifeline. The image of the man in the cafe haunted him. The cold eyes, the faint smile, the glint of metal. His father's last gift had turned into a curse. "Why, Dad?" Ethan whispered into the night. "Why would you leave me this?" He slid down to the ground, sitting on the wet pavement. The rain from earlier still clung to the streets. His clothes were damp. His fingers stroked the torn leather of the Bible. He wanted to hate it, but the truth was, it was all he had left of his father. His father's voice echoed in his head. "Promise me, never let it go." That memory broke him. His tears spilled again, harder, deeper. He missed his father's laugh. He missed the way he called him son with pride. Now there was only silence. The pain of loss cut deeper than the fear of danger. And maybe, just maybe, the Bible wasn't a curse. Maybe it was the only thing keeping him alive. As he sat there, a memory surfaced. He was 10 years old, sitting by the fire at Christmas. His father had opened this same Bible, reading with a smile. Ethan had been restless that night, asking endless questions. Michael had closed the Bible gently and whispered, "One day, this will mean more to you than anything else in this world." The words sent a shiver through him. His father had always known. Ethan wiped his face, stood up, and made a decision. He would not run anymore. He would find out what his father wanted him to see. He carried the Bible back to his small apartment. His steps were slow, cautious. He kept looking over his shoulder, certain someone was following. But the streets were empty, quiet. Too quiet. When he reached the apartment, he locked the door and pushed a chair against it. He closed the curtains and sat at the table. The lamp cast a faint glow. His hands shook as he opened the Bible. He turned the pages slowly, carefully. Some were torn, some bent. And then there it was again. The envelope. His name, written in his father's handwriting. Ethan. The sight of it made his chest ache. His father's hand had written those letters. His father's love was on that paper. He took a deep breath and pulled the envelope out. He opened it carefully, like it might break apart. Inside was a single folded sheet. He unfolded it with trembling hands. At the top, in his father's writing, were just 6 words. "Forgive me. I had no choice." Ethan's eyes blurred. He read it again and again. What did it mean? No choice for what? Then he noticed something else. The page wasn't only writing. It was a map. A small, hand-drawn map of a street he knew. At the edge of town, near the river, there was a red mark on the map. A circle. Beside it, one word. Midnight. Ethan's stomach twisted. His father was leading him somewhere. But why? His phone buzzed suddenly. He jumped, almost dropping the paper. His hands shook as he picked it up. Another message from the unknown number. "If you follow that map, you will die." Ethan's throat went dry. His heart thundered. He looked from the paper to the Bible, then back to the phone. Another message arrived, faster this time. "We warned you. Midnight is not for you. It's for us." Ethan's tears fell onto the map, smudging the ink. His father's note in one hand, the Bible in the other, he sat frozen. He wanted to scream. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then there was a sound. Knock. 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 3 slow knocks on the door. Ethan's body went cold. He hadn't told anyone where he lived. Nobody visited him. Not at this hour. The knocks came again, harder this time. He stared at the door, clutching the Bible tight, the map shaking in his hand. Then a voice called softly through the wood. "Ethan, open the door. Your father sent us." Ethan stood frozen by the door. The voice outside was soft, but it carried weight. "Ethan, open the door. Your father sent us." His chest rose and fell fast. His mind screamed. How could anyone claim that? His father had been gone only days, and yet strangers kept appearing, warning him, watching him. He held the torn Bible to his chest, trembling. But something inside whispered, "Do not fear." Instead of opening the door, Ethan backed away slowly. "If you knew my father," he said, voice shaking, "then tell me his last words." Silence. A long pause. Then the voice answered. He said, "Promise me you will never let it go." Ethan's heart stumbled. That was true. His father had spoken those exact words with his last breath. Tears stung his eyes. Whoever was behind the door, they knew. But Ethan wasn't foolish. He stayed quiet, waiting. The knocking stopped. After a while, footsteps faded down the hall. The night grew silent again. Ethan locked every bolt, sat at the table, and opened the Bible once more. His hands shook as he unfolded the map. The red circle near the river. Midnight. His father's note, "Forgive me. I had no choice." He whispered, "Dad, what were you trying to tell me?" The night dragged, but he stayed awake. By morning, his decision was clear. He would follow the map. Not because of fear, not because of threats, but because it was his father's last request. The next night, he walked to the river with the Bible hidden under his jacket. The streets were dark and quiet, the wind cold on his face. His feet carried him to the place marked on the map. A small, old building stood there, nearly forgotten by time. The door creaked as he pushed it open. Inside was dust, broken wood, and silence. But in the far corner, something caught his eye, a box, small and locked. Ethan's breath quickened. He reached into the Bible and pulled out the envelope again. Inside, tucked behind the map, was a tiny key. His father's handwriting had circled it. "Use this." His hands shook as he slid the key into the lock. Click. The box opened. Inside were papers. Dozens of them. Bank documents. Land titles. Business shares. And beneath them, a letter. Ethan's knees weakened. He sat on the dusty floor, tears falling as he unfolded it. "My son, if you are reading this, I am gone. I could not show you all of this while I was alive. Enemies were watching. If they had known, they would have destroyed us both. So I hid my inheritance in the safest place I knew, the Bible. I know you feel pain. I know you feel cheated. But remember this. Wealth without wisdom is destruction. That is why I left you the word first. If you can honor God with little, you will honor him with much. Use what is here, but never forget the Bible is the true treasure. Live by its words, and it will guide you through storms money cannot fix. I am proud of you. Dad." Ethan pressed the letter to his chest, sobbing. His father had not left him empty. He had left him everything. Not just money, but wisdom. Not just wealth, but a path. The years that followed were not easy, but they were blessed. Ethan took the inheritance documents to the bank. He discovered land that had grown valuable, shares that had multiplied in worth, accounts with money he never dreamed existed. But he didn't waste it. He remembered his father's words. Wealth without wisdom is destruction. He studied, he worked, he invested carefully. He gave to the poor, built homes for the homeless, paid school fees for orphans. He read the Bible every night, whispering the same prayer. "Guide me, Lord. Don't let wealth destroy me." The torn Bible sat on his desk through every decision, every success, every loss. Its pages became his map, not just to riches, but to life. And slowly, surely, Ethan grew. From a boy who walked in the rain with nothing, to a man who built companies that touched nations. From someone who cried in hunger, to a billionaire who fed thousands. Yet through it all, he never let go of the Bible. Years later, Ethan stood on a great stage, facing a sea of people. Cameras flashed. His story had spread across the world. The billionaire who inherited only a torn Bible. The crowd waited for his words. He stepped forward, Bible in hand, the same one his father had given him. Its cover was still cracked, its edges still worn. but his smile was bright. Many of you, he began, voice steady, believe I became rich because of what I found hidden inside this Bible. But listen to me. The greatest treasure was not the papers or the money. It was the wisdom written in these pages. The crowd grew silent. His words carried weight. My father could have left me gold, but gold fades. He could have left me land, but land shifts. He gave me something eternal, and it was the Bible that taught me how to handle the riches that came after. Without it, I would have been lost, just another man destroyed by greed. He lifted the Bible higher. This, my friends, is the real inheritance. A guide for the heart, a compass for the lost. With it, I found courage when I was afraid. With it, I learned patience when I was angry. With it, I discovered that true success is not measured by the size of your bank account, but by the size of your impact. Tears welled in the eyes of some listeners. Ethan's voice grew softer, but stronger. I was a broken young man who thought life cheated me. But I stand before you now to say this. Sometimes what looks like little is everything you need. Sometimes the gift you reject is the gift that saves you. Don't despise the torn Bible, the small talent, the humble beginning. Greatness often hides in places the world calls worthless. The hall erupted in applause. People rose to their feet. Ethan stood tall, a man who had turned pain into purpose, loss into legacy. And as the sound filled the air, he whispered one last thing into the microphone, words that would live in the hearts of all who heard. I was given nothing but a torn Bible. Today, I am a billionaire. But the true treasure was never the money. The true treasure was the Word of God. That night, Ethan returned home to his quiet study. He placed the Bible gently on the desk and touched its worn cover with reverence. "Thank you, Dad," he whispered. "You gave me more than I ever dreamed." The torn Bible lay there, silent but shining. The inheritance that turned sorrow into joy and an ordinary young man into a legend of wisdom, faith, and success. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to get notified for more intriguing stories.